sat across from Mr. Dalloway, the estate lawyer, and tried to keep my hands still. Gavin sat beside him like he owned the room, smiling at the photo of my dad on the desk. "Your father's estate is settled," Mr. Dalloway said. "Your brother will manage the distribution." Manage. The word hit like cold water. I leaned forward. "Where's my part?" Gavin answered first. "Rowan, you'll get a check. Later. Don't stress." Mr. Dalloway slid a folder toward me. On top was a page labeled Consent to Transfer. My name was printed near the bottom, and under it was a signature that looked like mine but wrong, too stiff. "I didn't sign this," I said. Gavin's smile didn't change. "You did. You were crying. You don't remember." My throat tightened. "I remember everything." Mr. Dalloway cleared his throat. "Grief can blur days after a funeral." Gavin leaned close and whispered, "Don't make a scene. You can't afford one." I stood up. My legs shook, but I didn't argue. Outside, I opened the email Gavin had helped me access. A new message glowed, Estate transfer approved. Under consenting party, it said, Rowan Hale. I drove back to my apartment in Cedar Ridge with my jaw clenched. Dad had been gone 4 months, but the hurt still came in waves. Gavin kept saying he was handling the hard stuff, and I let him because I was tired and numb. At home, I searched my phone for Dad's messages. Most were short. "Love you, be safe." Then I found one from 2 weeks before he died. "Don't let anyone rush you. The cabin and the savings are for you. Read everything." My chest squeezed. The cabin at Lakeview, where Dad taught me to fish and let me stay up late by the fire. I opened the box from the funeral, the one Gavin told me not to mess with. Under sympathy cards was a sticky note in Dad's handwriting. "Key is in the blue book." I stared at it. Blue book? I didn't own one. Gavin had taken Dad's files the day after the service. I looked at the consent page again. The date was the day after the funeral. That day, I wasn't at any office. I was at my aunt's house, asleep on a couch, still in my black dress. My phone buzzed. A text from Gavin. "Stop poking around. Let it go." The next morning, I drove to Mom's place on Juniper Street. The curtains were closed, even though the sun was bright. When she opened the door, her eyes went straight to the folder in my hands. "Sweetheart," she said, "don't do this today." "Where is Dad's blue book?" I asked. Mom's mouth went tight. "I don't know what you mean." "You do," I said. "Dad left a note." She led me to the kitchen. "Gavin is taking care of everything," she said, the same way she said it at the funeral. "I'm not asking for everything. I'm asking for my inheritance." Mom flinched. "He's your brother." Then I heard Gavin's voice from Mom's office, loud on speakerphone. He was laughing. "She signed. It's done," he said. "She won't do anything." My heart kicked. I stepped back, quiet, so he wouldn't know I heard. In the hallway, I noticed Mom's desk drawer had a new lock, shiny like it was just bought. As I left, a moving box by the door caught my eye. In thick marker it said, "Cabin photos. Keep." I touched the cardboard and felt anger rise like heat. Behind me, Gavin kept laughing, and Mom didn't stop him. That night, I called Leah, my best friend from high school. She answered fast with office noise in the background. "Rowan," she said, "are you okay?" "No." My voice shook. I told her about the lawyer, the consent page, and Gavin's text. I told her about the lock on Mom's drawer and the box labeled cabin photos. Leah didn't gasp. She got quiet in the focused way. "Forward me the transfer email," she said, "and screenshot every text." "I can't afford a lawyer," I said. "I didn't say you needed one tonight," Leah said. "I'm a paralegal. I can help you build a timeline. Paper loves timelines." I wiped my cheeks with my sleeve and stared at my kitchen wall. "Don't confront him again," Leah added. "Why?" "Because Gavin thinks you're quiet," she said. "People get sloppy when they think they've already won." My stomach twisted. "So what do I do? You watch, you collect, you breathe," Lee said, "and you stop signing anything." After we hung up, I opened my notes app and typed one line, "Prove it." My phone buzzed. Another text from Gavin, "Last warning." My hands started shaking again. Leah told me to request the consent document the lawyer claimed I signed. I filled out the online form with stiff fingers. The next afternoon, a PDF arrived. I opened it at my break table at work. My name was there again, printed cleanly. Under it was the same crooked signature. I zoomed in until the letters blurred. The loops were wrong. Someone had tried to copy me and didn't know where my hand naturally slows. Below the signature was a line, signed electronically at Cedar Ridge Funeral Services. The day after the funeral, my stomach dropped. I wasn't there. I was at my aunt's house, asleep in my black dress. Leah called like she sensed it. "What does it say?" she asked. "It says I signed at the funeral home," I whispered. "Good," Leah said. "That's a location, that's a timestamp. We can test it." My phone lit up with a text from Gavin. "I told you to stop." Then another, "Don't make me handle you." I stared at those words and realized he wasn't only taking money, he was taking control. I saved the PDF, backed it up, and wrote the date on my timeline in thick ink. Gavin showed up at my apartment 2 days later, holding coffee like a peace offering. His smile was bright, but his eyes stayed flat. "You look rough," he said, stepping in without asking. "Grief is messy." "I didn't invite you," I said. He glanced around my small living room like he owned it. "You're spiraling, Rowan. That's why I stepped up." "I want my inheritance," I said. He sighed. "You want to fight? With what money? You can't even keep your lights on without help." The words stung because Dad used to cover my car repairs when my checks ran short. "I didn't sign that consent," I said. Gavin took a sip. "You did. You just don't remember. Stop embarrassing yourself." He leaned closer, voice low. "If you keep digging, you'll make Mom sick. Then everyone will blame you." He left. When his footsteps faded, I noticed a thin scratch on my doorframe, like someone tried to pry it. I checked my kitchen drawer where I kept Dad's pocket watch. Empty. My chest turned to ice. Gavin hadn't only visited, he had taken something to prove he still had access. My phone buzzed. An unknown number texted, "Quit now or lose more." I went to the police station after work, the PDF folded in my purse. An officer with tired eyes listened while I explained the fake signature. He nodded. "Inheritance disputes are usually civil," he said, "unless you have clear proof of forgery." "This is proof," I said, holding out the page. He glanced at it fast. "It's suspicious," he admitted, "but a lawyer needs to fight it in court." I walked out feeling hollow. I called Leah from my car. "Police won't move first," she said. "Paper moves first. Go after the accounts." That night, I tried to log into Dad's online banking. The password didn't work. I clicked reset. The site asked where to send the recovery link. 2 choices popped up. One was Dad's old email. The other was a new address I didn't recognize, gavin.hale.manage@. My mouth went dry. Someone changed the contact. I called the bank. After a long hold, the woman asked security questions. I knew 2, but the third had been changed. "Sorry," she said. "Without that, I can't discuss the account." I hung up and stared at my hands. Then my inbox pinged. A calendar invite appeared from Gavin. "Family meeting. Tomorrow 7 p.m. No option to decline." I didn't go to Gavin's family meeting. Instead, I drove to Mr. Hollis's garage on the edge of town. Dad used to fix engines there on Saturdays. Mr. Hollis looked up from under a hood. "Something's wrong," he said. I told him about the lawyer and the consent page. His jaw tightened. He walked to a locked cabinet and pulled out a small envelope with my name in Dad's handwriting. "He asked me to hold this," Mr. Hollis said. "Said you'd need it if anyone got slick." Inside was a note. "Rowan, if Gavin tries to take control, go to Harper & Klein. Ask for Miss Sato. Trust her, not him." A key was taped to the paper. "What's the key for?" I asked. Mr. Hollis shook his head. "Your dad didn't tell me, but he did tell me this. Gavin and your father fought hard the week before he passed." My throat tightened. "About what?" "Money," he said. "The cabin. Your name." Mom called. I answered, and she whispered, "Gavin says you're trying to steal from us." I stared at the greasy floor and said, "I'm not stealing. I'm taking back what Dad meant for me." Then I drove to Brighton City with the key heavy in my pocket. Harper & Klein was a tall glass building that made me feel small. Miss Sato met me in a quiet room with a yellow notepad and steady eyes. "Start from the beginning," she said. I told her everything, the lawyer, the consent page, the bank reset email, and Gavin's threats. I handed her Dad's note from Mr. Hollis. She read it twice. "Your father was careful," she said. "That helps." She tapped the signature. "This doesn't look clean," she said. "Not proof yet, but a red flag." "I don't have money," I admitted. "We can make a plan," she said. "First, we confirm what exists. Will, trust, beneficiary forms." My phone buzzed. "Gavin, Mom's sick because of you." Another, "Come home and apologize. Tonight." I showed Miss Sato. She said, "He's using emotion as a leash." "But she is my mom," I whispered, "and you are your father's daughter," Miss Sato said. "Protecting yourself isn't betrayal." She slid a form to me. "Sign this so I can request records. This is the only thing you sign." I read every line twice, then signed. When I stepped outside, Mom called. I let it ring and kept walking, heart hammering. Miss Sato said records could take time. Time was Gavin's weapon, but it could be mine too. I went back to Mom's house, acting soft. Mom opened the door in a robe. He says you won't stop, she said like she was reading a script. I just want to look at Dad's things, I said, for my grief. That word worked. She let me in. In her bedroom, I saw it on the dresser, a faded blue notebook with a bent corner. My breath caught. Mom followed my eyes and reached fast. That's private, she snapped. It's Dad's, I said, and my voice came out firm. I picked it up. Mom grabbed my wrist. Gavin said you'd do this, she hissed. I pulled free and opened the cover. Dad's handwriting filled the pages. A list. Cabin, savings, tools, life insurance. One line was circled so hard it dented the paper. Lakeview Cabin, for Rowan. My knees went weak. Mom's face changed from anger to fear. Put that down, she whispered. Then the hallway floor creaked. Gavin appeared in the doorway, smiling. Well, he said, look what you found. He stepped closer and held out his hand. Give me the book, Rowan. Now. Gavin's hand stayed out, steady like he was training a dog. I didn't move. Why is my name circled? I asked. He shrugged. Dad wrote notes. Notes aren't law. Did you forge my signature? I asked. Gavin's eyes narrowed. Careful. I looked down at the blue book and made a choice. I pulled out my phone and started taking photos, page after page. The screen clicked. Stop that. Gavin lunged. Mom made a small sound behind him. Gavin grabbed for my phone, but I stepped back and held it high. Don't touch me, I said. He froze, then smiled again. You're making yourself look crazy. I heard you, I said. You said it was done. His smile slipped. You always were Dad's pity project. He snapped. He left me in charge for a reason. Mom whispered, Gavin, please. He ignored her. You want the cabin? You can't even manage a budget. You'd lose it. I didn't argue. I finished the last photo and sent them to Leah and Miss Sato. My phone pinged. Delivered. Gavin's face went hard. Fine, he said. You want war? I'll show you losing. He turned and walked out. I held the blue book to my chest, shaking because I knew he meant it. Miss Sato moved fast. She filed a request to pause the estate transfer while we challenged the consent form. A hearing date came back, 2 weeks. Gavin responded the same day with poison. He emailed my boss, my aunt, and cousins. The subject line, concern for Rowan. He wrote that I was unstable and confused. He said I was grieving badly and fixated on money. At the bottom was a family statement signed by Mom. When I saw Mom's name under his words, my throat burned. Leah called. Good, she said. Good? I croaked. He put his lie in writing, Leah said. Save everything. I went to work with my stomach in knots. My manager asked if I was okay at home. I nodded and lied. That night, I heard a scrape outside my apartment door. Then the doorknob turned, slow, like someone testing it. I grabbed my phone and recorded, hands shaking. The knob stopped. Footsteps moved away. I waited before opening the door. The hallway was empty, but on my welcome mat was Dad's pocket watch. The chain was snapped. I stared at it and understood. Gavin was saying he could reach me whenever he wanted. The next morning, my car wouldn't start. I turned the key until the engine coughed and died. Under the hood, the battery cable was loose, like someone twisted it off by hand. The mechanic frowned. This isn't normal, he said. Someone messed with it. I took the bus to work, staring out the window like the world was pretending nothing happened. At lunch, my manager called me into his office. Rowan, we got a call, he said. Someone said you're involved in fraud, an inheritance issue. My face went hot. That's not true. He nodded. I believe you, but HR wants it documented. When I got home, I cried for 1 minute, then washed my face. I opened Leah's spreadsheet and added new lines. Car sabotage, false report to employer, date, time. Miss Sato called that evening. Stay calm, she said. He's building a story to paint you as unstable. What if it works? I whispered. Truth works, she said, but only if we can prove it. Then my email dinged. A realtor message from Lakeview. Request for cabin listing appointment. My heart dropped. Someone was trying to sell the cabin, and they weren't asking me. Leah came to my apartment with her laptop and a stack of sticky notes. We build a timeline, she said. We listed everything. Funeral day where I slept, photos with timestamps. The day after, my aunt's couch. A selfie I took with swollen eyes. Proof I wasn't at Cedar Ridge funeral services. Leah tapped the PDF. Electronic signature, she said. That means a tablet or device. Miss Sato joined by video. We can request device logs, she said, if the platform stores them. My phone rang. Mr. Hollis, his voice was tight. Rowan, a realtor called about the cabin, he said. Someone wants to list it. My stomach flipped. Gavin is trying to sell it before the hearing. Leah's eyes narrowed. That's desperate, she said. Desperate people make mistakes. Miss Sato nodded. We drive to Lakeview. Tonight, we document the listing attempt. I looked at the blue book photos on my phone, Dad's circle around my name. My hand stopped shaking. As Leah grabbed her keys, my email refreshed. A bank alert popped up. Large withdrawal pending approval. Hale Savings. Dad's savings account. The one I couldn't even access. My chest tightened like a rope was pulling. We reached Lakeview near dusk. The cabin sat between pines like it was trying to hide. A fresh realtor sign leaned against the porch rail. Gavin stood on the steps in a crisp jacket, talking to a couple holding a brochure. He smiled like he was selling a dream. I walked up and said, "This property isn't yours to list." The couple turned. The realtor blinked. Gavin only chuckled. "Rowan, please, not here." "It's exactly here," I said, calm though my heart raced. "There's a court hearing. Any sale is risky." The realtor's face tightened. "Is there a dispute?" she asked. Gavin spread his hands. "My sister is struggling," he said. "She's grieving." I looked at the realtor. "I can prove my father intended this for me," I said, "and I can prove I didn't sign the transfer." The couple stepped back, uneasy. The realtor cleared her throat. "Mr. Hale, we should pause," she said. Gavin's smile flickered. I saw fear. He leaned close and hissed, "You just cost me time." I whispered, "Good." As they walked away, my phone buzzed with a bank alert. Overdraft fee charged. My account had been drained by an automatic payment I didn't recognize. Gavin wasn't only selling the cabin, he was squeezing my life. Leah and I stayed at the cabin that night. The air inside smelled like smoke and old pine, like Dad's sweaters. In the back bedroom, a loose floorboard squeaked under my heel. Dad used to complain about it and say he'd get to it. I knelt, pried it up with a butter knife, and found a small metal box underneath. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside were papers sealed in plastic and a letter addressed to me, Rowan Hale. Leah leaned close as I read. "Rowan, if you're reading this, Gavin tried something. Don't fight loud. Fight smart. Use the trust. Protect your mother, but don't let her fear become your cage." My vision blurred. Under the letter was a trust document. Clear words jumped off the page. Lakeview Cabin, beneficiary Rowan Hale. Then savings account, beneficiary Rowan Hale. Relief hit me so hard I almost laughed. Then I saw the next line, trustee Brent Hale. Uncle Brent, Gavin's closest ally. Leah cursed. So Gavin didn't do this alone. I stared at Brent's name and felt the story shift again. Dad didn't only leave me a gift. He left me a warning, because the person holding the keys wasn't on my side. Uncle Brent met me at a diner off Highway 6. He arrived wearing flannel and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Rowan," he said, "I'm sorry about your dad." "Then help me honor him," I said, sliding the trust copy across the table. "This names me as beneficiary." Brent glanced at it and pushed it back. "Your dad was emotional near the end," he said. "He changed his mind." "Show me," I said. Brent's smile thinned. "I don't have to show you anything. I'm the trustee." "I didn't sign the transfer," I said. "Someone forged it." Brent took a sip of coffee. "Gavin says you're confused." "Gavin says whatever helps him," I said. Brent leaned in. "Family doesn't need court. You drop this, and Gavin will cut you a check. 10,000. 10,000. Like Dad's cabin was a used car. My hands clenched under the table, but my voice stayed calm. "I'll think about it." Brent nodded, satisfied. "Smart girl." In my car, I texted Miss Sato. Brent offered money to drop the claim. "Refuses records." She replied, "Good. That's coercion." As I drove away, Brent's truck pulled out behind me and followed for miles before turning off, just long enough to remind me he could. Miss Sato filed papers to remove Brent as trustee for conflict of interest. The next day, my phone exploded. Brent left a voicemail, furious. "You're ruining the family," he barked. "Your dad would be ashamed." Then Mom called, crying. "Rowan, please," she begged. "Gavin says you're trying to take the cabin from us." I swallowed. "Mom, Dad wrote my name," I said. "Why are you helping him?" Silence. Then she whispered, "Because Gavin scares me." My chest tightened. I pictured my mother afraid of her own son, and it didn't feel real. "Where is he?" I asked. "He's here," she whispered. "He checks my phone." "Then don't talk," I said fast. "Just listen. You didn't do anything wrong by being scared." She sniffed. He said if I don't support him, he'll put me in a home. Anger rose like fire. Mom, I said, I'm not fighting you. I'm fighting him. A faint click sounded on the line like another phone picked up. Mom's voice changed. I have to go, she said. The call ended. 1 minute later, Gavin texted, stay away from Mom. Court won't save you. I stared at the screen and knew this wasn't only about inheritance, it was about control. Mom agreed to meet me in public. We chose a park near the library. Gavin liked quiet corners. I wanted noise. Mom sat on a bench with her purse hugged tight. She looked smaller than I remembered. Did you sign that family statement? I asked. She nodded. He brought it to me. He said you were stealing. And the truth? I asked. Her voice dropped. I never saw you sign anything, she whispered. Gavin said you did. I took her hand. Mom, he forged it. She flinched. He handles my bills now, she said. He has my passwords. He says it's for my safety. That's not safety, I said. That's a cage. Mom's eyes darted around. He tracks my phone, she whispered. Right then her phone buzzed. She stared at the screen and went pale. He's calling. Don't answer, I said. We'll leave. We walked toward my car. A dark SUV rolled slowly along the street, matching our speed. My pulse jumped. I didn't know if Gavin was inside, but I felt the threat anyway. Mom whispered, he found us. As we pulled away, a text lit up on her phone. You have one job. Mom covered her mouth to stop a sob, and I knew we were running out of time. Court day came like a storm on a calendar. I wore a plain blouse and shoes that didn't squeak. Miss Sato told me to look steady, because steady people are believed. Gavin arrived in a dark suit with a soft smile. Uncle Brent sat behind him. Mom was there too, near the wall, eyes down. Gavin's lawyer called me emotional and misinformed. He said Gavin protected the family during a hard time. Miss Sato stood and spoke like a blade that didn't need to shout. She showed my timeline, my alibi photos, and the blue book pages with Dad's circle around my name. Gavin's lawyer objected. The judge raised a hand. Let her finish. Then Miss Sato said, we request the electronic signature logs for the consent form. The room went still. The judge looked at Gavin. Granted, he said, provide device and IP logs within 48 hours. Gavin blinked hard. His smile tightened. Outside, he brushed past me and murmured, you think this makes you strong? Miss Sato whispered, he's rattled. As we walked out, Uncle Brent stared at me and mouthed, you'll pay. Then he turned away, already texting. My stomach sank. When the logs arrived, Miss Sato called me to her office. She laid one page on the table. This is the signature log, she said. Device ID, time, location, and the account owner tied to the device. Gavin Hale, business profile. My breath caught. At the follow-up hearing, Miss Sato handed the log to the judge. Gavin's lawyer tried to talk over it. The judge shut him down. Gavin spoke smoothly. I helped her sign, he said. She was distraught. Miss Sato asked, if she was present, where's the video? Where is a witness statement? Gavin's jaw tightened. There isn't one. Then Miss Sato called Mom to the stand. Mom's hands shook. Gavin stared at her like a warning. For a second, I thought she would break. Mom took one breath and said, Rowan did not sign anything. Gavin told me to lie. Silence dropped across the room. The judge looked at Gavin. Estate transfer is paused, he said. Further investigation ordered. Relief hit me so hard my knees softened. But Gavin didn't look defeated. He leaned close as we passed and whispered, you just made Mom a target. Mom gripped my arm. Outside, her phone rang, and she didn't answer. That night, Mom slept on my couch, waking up to check her phone, then remembering it wasn't safe. He took my keys, she whispered, and my debit card. At sunrise, I drove her to her house. The locks had been changed. Mom stared at the doorknob like it was a stranger. This is my home, she whispered. I called Gavin. Voicemail. I called the police. The officer shrugged. If his name is on the property, he said, it's complicated. Mom's hands shook in my car. He said he'd put me away, she whispered. Back at my apartment, Miss Sato emailed steps for an emergency order to protect Mom's accounts. Paperwork stacked like sandbags. Just after lunch, there was a hard knock at my door. A man in a plain jacket held a folder. Rowan Hale? He asked. I took it. You've been served. The front page read, civil complaint, defamation and theft of documents. Gavin was suing me. Mom covered her mouth. I skimmed the claim and felt sick. Gavin said I broke into Mom's house and stole the blue book. He wasn't only fighting for money now, he was trying to make me the criminal. Miss Sato read Gavin's lawsuit and let out a short laugh. This is meant to scare you, she said. It's weak. How is that good? I asked. Because he's claiming facts, she said. Now he has to answer under oath. Leah searched public records on her laptop, business filings, liens, loan notices. Then she froze. Rowan, she said, look. A loan document for Hale Construction listed collateral, Hale savings account, assigned value, Dad's savings account. My mouth went dry. He used Dad's money as a guarantee. Miss Sato's eyes sharpened. That links his business to the inheritance, she said. We can ask for an emergency asset freeze. Mom sat still. He promised he was helping, she whispered. He was helping himself, I said. Miss Sato typed fast. We freeze the accounts and block any cabin sale, she said. And we serve him where he can't twist it in private. Where? I asked. Leah checked her phone. He's hosting a charity dinner next week, she said. Big donors, cameras. My pulse steadied into something cold and clear. Then that's where we do it, I said. Right then my email pinged. Final notice, payment due, my landlord. Gavin's squeeze was working, but now I had something stronger than panic. I had timing. The charity dinner was at the Brighton Grand Hotel, all chandeliers and polished smiles. I wore a simple black dress. My goal was not drama. My goal was truth. Gavin stood near the stage, shaking hands, laughing like the kind of man people trust. Uncle Brent hovered nearby, scanning the room. Miss Sato waited at the entrance with a legal officer and sealed papers. I watched from the back. When Gavin raised the microphone, the crowd quieted. Thank you for believing in community, he said. That was the moment. The legal officer stepped forward and touched Gavin's elbow. Mr. Hale, you've been served. Gavin's smile froze. He took the envelope, trying to laugh it off, but the cameras flashed anyway. His eyes scanned the first page. Color drained from his face. Assets frozen pending fraud investigation. The room murmured. Donors leaned in, whispers spreading fast. Gavin looked around and spotted me. His stare hit like a slap. I didn't flinch. I said, quiet but clear, what you did in private is now public. He stepped toward me, but Brent caught his arm. As the crowd buzzed, my phone vibrated with a new message, a photo of Mom's house, and one line, nice move, now watch your back. That night, I didn't go home. Sato told me to treat the message like a real threat. Leah drove Mom and me to her sister's house across town. Mom trembled at the kitchen table. I did the right thing, she whispered. You did, I said, and we're going to keep you safe. Miss Sato filed an emergency order the next morning. The judge granted it after seeing Gavin's texts and the photo threat. A police officer escorted Mom to her house to collect clothes and documents. Under Mom's car bumper, the officer found a small tracker taped in place. My stomach turned. It wasn't paranoia, it was real. 2 weeks later, the final hearing landed like a stamp. Brent was removed as trustee. The trust was enforced. The cabin and the protected savings were confirmed under my name. Without Dad's savings as collateral, Gavin's business loan collapsed. He signed a settlement to repay what he took and admit he acted without my consent. He didn't beg. He didn't apologize. He just looked tired. I drove to Lakeview and sat on the porch with Dad's pocket watch returned in a sealed envelope. The perfect moment was peace Gavin couldn't control.